Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. With me today is Sky Fisher. She's well known on Substack for her Substack, Sky Fishing for Skyfish. And she's also active on Instagram intermittently under the name Sky Fisher for Skyfish. Welcome, Sky.
Thanks. Great to be here.
So today I thought we were going to look at some fast food.
Mm.
I understand that you grew up near Louisville, Kentucky. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
Great. So I want you to imagine that we're in Louisville and we're going to drive around and we're going to look at some places. And as we go to each place, I'm going to ask you how you feel about it. Tell me some memories you might have, either of the place or the area or anything that comes to mind. Really, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you think about or feel when you see the image, that's what we're going to do, okay?
Perfect. Can't wait.
Great. Okay. So the first place we're going to go is the Wendy's at 1108 Bardstown Road. And I picked this location because they were so welcoming with this image. Welcome to real, welcome to fresh, welcome to Wendy's, Louisville.
Right.
How do you feel about it?
I know this place. It's at an intersection really close to Cherokee Park, which is a small oasis in the otherwise suburban area. Now, this Wendy's specifically is an eyesore on the outside as well as the inside. It kind of feels like I'm in detention, actually. I've never been inside of it, to be honest. I don't even think I've gone through the drive-through, but I love the choices they made about the kerning. That really helps to accentuate the wall there. And again, these chairs are bringing me back to disciplinary action in school, as well as these helpfully ambient overhead lights, which do give that sort of interrogation energy. The red is alarming, and I guess it's reminiscent of ketchup. Sure. Well, the linoleum is, yeah, it's just all right. I feel like that's what that evokes for me.
Okay. Let's have a look at the next place. The next place we're going to go is Jaggers, which is at 6464 New Dutchman's Parkway. And this is the takeout situation at Jaggers. And what I'd like us to look at here specifically, are you seeing that zoom as I'm zooming in?
Yeah, that's great.
So you can see that we've got what appear to be two sweet teas and one unsweetened tea. But they've failed to use these tabs on the drinks that were designed for this purpose. And I see this quite a bit. What's your experience with these tabs and this kind of thing?
I love this. I love this piece of technology that has been abused and ignored by service workers for a very long time. During my year or two working at Cracker Barrel when I was in high school, we had these, and I always wondered why people refused to use them. I think there's just something aversive about denting the cup. It's like damaging someone's property before you give it to them. There's also just, I don't know, something especially terrible about these like flimsy plastic lids. And it would be so easy to break and ruin and then dent the styrofoam cup and ultimately make more work for yourself and more trash for everyone. But it's kind of beautiful, I think, that we have all of the tools to complete the job. And instead we resort to Sharpie.
One thing I'm noticing as we're looking at this, and this is generational, as I'm sure you're aware, these were designed before a freestyle machine or before even Mountain Dew was that popular. And so your options are cola or diet,
Right.
and then root beer, which root beer is not commonly found in fast food anymore. Yet it remains on the lid as an option, and then just other, which would be orange soda or something like that traditionally, but you would be able to see that it was orange soda through the lid.
It evokes something to me about reinventing the wheel that we never really needed while maintaining a bunch of old technologies that people refuse to use.
Can you remember when was the last time you encountered root beer in the wild?
Mm, root beer in the wild. This might be an invented memory, but there is an organic ice cream shop in Los Angeles that I like. It's called Fluffy McCloud's, and their whole tagline is "Don't panic, it's organic," but they make a really, really delightful root beer float, I think. But again, that may be an invented memory.
When I lived in LA, the root beer float was from Arby's.
Mm.
And there was somewhere at the farmer's market too, but I can't remember where
Which
anymore.
farmer's market?
Third and Fairfax.
Okay.
What you would call the Grove.
Right.
The old part of the Grove. All right, our next stop here on our tour of Louisville is at the Culvers, 4630 Hurstbourne Parkway. Do we know this location?
Yes, I've never gone to this one, but I've seen this one.
This is one of those places that when I stand in, and this happens to me quite frequently, I can't believe it's still there. Like I will stand there, excuse me, I'll take a picture like this, and I'll be thinking in my head, how does this exist? Like, how does this still exist?
Yeah.
Do you encounter locations like this in your life?
Well, in Los Angeles, they don't last very long. They tear them down like they're losing money on the minute, which I guess they probably are.
Well, for example, if you were in Los Angeles, there's the Wendy's on Sunset across from the library,
Mm,
um, in a near the Rock and Roll Ralphs. That's what you would know, and that is one of those places that you walk in and it looks like this in the sense of how is this still here?
yeah, I just assume it's a money laundering business for the Russian mob.
I don't think this Culver's would be though. So you've never been in this Culver's?
This one?
Yeah.
No, but I do miss Culver's.
Do you know this area at all where the Culver's is located? What can you tell me about it?
Hurstbourne Parkway is interesting because it's this gigantic road that's basically a highway, but is put in a residential area. So there are like 4 lanes on each side, and then there's a bunch of fast food and gas stations lining that welcoming area. It's a really, really dangerous, super unwalkable place, and they put these sort of honey pots along that area for mostly truck drivers and the people who live further back in those neighborhoods to go into. It is sort of a mystery spot. The whole place feels like it's built on quicksand, like it could just disappear and no one would miss it. Firstborn's a weird, I would say like a spiritually very, very weird and hollow place.
If we were there, if we were at the Hurstbourne area with this layout you're describing, where would you normally stop?
There is an Indian restaurant called Shalimar, and I've been going to it since I was like 6 years old. And I've watched all of the waiters because it's run by the same guys and they do like the waiting and the management. I've known them since I was literally a child. And I would go back there.
Okay.
We used to call it the red chicken place because we didn't know about tandoori.
Our next stop is going to be the Chick-fil-A, 2350 Shane Drive. And
Mm.
here they've decorated it for something. I don't know what.
Oh, that's very
Um,
special.
what are your thoughts on this?
Um, are those balloons? What's happening?
It looks like they are cows on balloons.
Oh, that's perfect.
And I can't quite tell, but I think the balloons might have been like inflatable Pokeballs. No, they say Chick-fil-A on the balloon. Yeah.
Okay.
They're cows parachuting from the
Right.
ceiling into the Chick-fil-A.
Um, well, I love that they're doing something, a little something to spice up the otherwise sterile environment. The sort of animal war that they invented between the cows and the chickens is one of the more interesting narratives developed by fast food chains. I do think they missed an opportunity to have pigs up there, but of course that wouldn't go with their established narratives. And it just feels kind of sad somehow with the poorly inflated parachutes. It does give cheap, like we had an idea, but we didn't have the budget to do it well, so we did it regardless, which is a degree of human fortitude. I'm sort of proud of them in the way that you'd be proud of a 6-year-old.
Have you been to this Chick-fil-A?
I try to stay out of them. They scare me. They feel kind of culty, it's a Scientology energy.
When you do go, did you dine in or drive through? Or I mean, everybody loves the Chick-fil-A food generally.
I don't eat chicken,
Okay.
and I like to do most of my, what shall I say, indulgence practices on the weekends, and so that's like a 50-50 shot of me hitting them, and they're usually closed, and they also hate the gays, so I generally, I give them a stern, firm arm, unless I just desperately need some waffle fries, in which case I will walk in because I cannot stand the, sickly sweet simpering that they are required to give you. If I wanted my asshole licked, I would not go to Chick-fil-A, you know?
Okay. And why don't you eat chicken?
I, was raised with a vegan mother from the age of 14 and onward, and she forced me to watch the documentaries, Food Inc. and things like that. But then I did, an environmental project on the emissions with animal agriculture, and I just gave it up. But I am pescatarian. I do eat fish. I figure if they didn't want to be eaten, they should have been cuter. And that's pretty horrible for the environment. So we all make excuses for ourselves.
Sounds good. Let's have a look at our next location. We're going to go to Five Guys, which is at 4226 Shelbyville Road. This was
Ugh.
an intriguing location. It looked like it must have been something else before, and I kept encountering these as I looked for Five Guys in the Louisville area. They all seemed like converted buildings, but when I went back in history on Google Maps, they had been Five Guys for quite some time. The
Ooh,
thing that really drew my attention in this picture was the box of tissues on the dashboard,
right.
which somehow doesn't fall over, or maybe it was placed there for the staging. Tell me, how does this image make you feel?
I have really beautiful memories of Five Guys. I It evokes something profoundly nostalgic and delighted in me. I remember when I was in high school, I had this huge crush on a guy who didn't want anything to do with me for 2 years. And when he was on a foreign exchange trip in Germany, he got really drunk because, legal drinking age there is much younger. And I was at a Five Guys with my grandmother when he called me and confessed his love for me. And so Five Guys will forever be a very special place in my heart, also because their french fries are just extraordinarily delicious and they give you entirely too many, which as a gluttonous Midwestern native, I really do appreciate. The box of tissues, I don't think I would have caught it. I think you have a real knack for these little details.
Do you think that they drive around with those tissues? Do you think they were staged for the photo?
Part of me hopes that they're the kind of person who's so in touch with the world and the emotions that the world evokes from them that they really need those tissues there at all times.
Our next stop is going to be Raising Cane's, 1250 Bardstown Road. Do we know this location? Oh, this is wonderful. This Cane's location, the photographer is showing us the size of the chicken finger in perspective, but they're not commenting on whether they think it's too big or too small.
Sure.
How do you feel when you see the image?
It's a very democratically constructed photo. I like that they're giving us so much leeway to make our own conclusions here, particularly that they've cleared out the entire rest of the box. So,
That looks like the top of the box.
oh, I see.
Yeah, see the the lid there. So they've opened the box all the way and then placed this one chicken finger here with the quarter for scale.
Mm. The shape of the chicken reminds me of a rooster's head on a T-Rex body.
I see that. I see the
Yeah,
little T-Rex arms. I see the
yeah,
little T-Rex head. Got it.
love that.
Do you think that the quarter being placed tails up was intentional?
Oh, mm, I hope so, but I do doubt it.
Next, we're going to go to Zaxby's,
Mm.
3243 Fern Valley Road. Do you know where that is?
It's a little further east than I usually go, I think,
Okay.
but I'm familiar with the area
I
enough.
think I think on this one we're going to look at some outdoor advertising, okay?
Excellent.
This one says the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet.
Mm,
Zaxby's signature chicken sandwich. And I was very intrigued by this because, of course, Kentucky is best known in fast food for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
yeah.
And there are Zaxby's, Cane's, and all this as we've seen. The use of the word war being the largest visible word, and also that it's in blue in what is traditionally a red state, was quite interesting.
Mm.
What are you getting out of this picture?
This seems reminiscent of the era when Popeyes was causing a huge stir in the chicken sandwich community, and every fast food restaurant was abruptly concerned with quality, which perceptibly had never been an issue for them before. It was called into question in a really intense way in Louisville because, of course, people feel very strongly and very proudly about our reputation surrounding chicken. Um, it is interesting that Zaxby's felt called to bring war into this and to stake their claim that it was not over yet, thereby sort of asserting their agency over the war as if they were a proud and loud, involved party, which I don't actually know any person at any time in my life who has gone to Zaxby's or been enthused about that decision. I also do like that they've structured that those words and the color of the text, war being the burger that gets eaten between the red bun, I suppose. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting choice, oddly patriotic somehow, maybe more honest than our own flag.
You might be too young. Do you remember when KFC had the chicken giveaway with Oprah?
No. What
Yeah,
must that have
this
been like?
this was I don't remember when, but you can Google it. And I'm telling you, not just you the story, but also our viewers the story, because many of them are in college and I know that they don't know about it. At some point when the beef became too expensive to keep selling like 99-cent Whoppers all the time,
Mm,
so all the fast food chains started pushing chicken, really pushing chicken. It drove the price of chicken up. And as part of that, people were pretending to eat healthy, as they are again now. You know, it's a cyclical thing. And KFC decided that they were going to sell Kentucky grilled chicken as opposed to just Kentucky fried chicken. And
ah,
Oprah did a giveaway, and it was with a printable coupon. This is when printable coupons were still a relatively new thing. And everybody could print as many coupons as they wanted, and every KFC in the country got mobbed with people trying to get their free chicken from Oprah. Of course, they ran out of chicken in 5 seconds, and there were lines, and people were rioting and going on the news, and all these, especially in more rural areas where there was limited supply, news teams were having a field day interviewing people who felt it was their God given right to get free chicken, that Oprah had lied to them, that they were somehow being punished in some way.
right.
Really fascinating moment of pop culture. And so I almost wonder if this sign is somehow referencing that in some way. Let's
Wow,
visit
that's
our next
phenomenal.
location.
Well, to stick with that for 1 second,
Sure.
I've often questioned the fact well, no, I'm just curious about the impact of Americans being so disconnected from the life and death required to make their meat. And I think that's sort of especially emblematic because the people were not interested in the staff, they were not interested in the supply chain, they were not interested in how the shortages came about. They were only interested in their entitlement given to them through an idea from Oprah as if she had the benevolent power to just stock every single establishment with as many chicken sandwiches as it took to please her viewership. I feel like that's a real symbolic moment of when Americans had their food so industrialized that they failed to consider any aspect of how it was made, processed, and provided for them because they just assumed it would be given to them.
There's been other times that was just one that was in terms of the popularity of chicken where it
Mm.
came into prominence. It was a very strange event when it happened. It was also around the same time, you know, those machines that called K-cup machines, the coffee makers.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Those were not the prevalent instant coffee makers initially. They were competitors and they were really everybody was fighting to get everybody's business. And so like Target and places like that were basically giving away free instant coffee makers to get you hooked on buying the coffee for life. And one of the most, this was right around the time of this Oprah incident. One of the most popular ones, people were going to Target, getting the free thing, and just throwing the coffee makers in the trash so they could get the free coffee pods out of the box.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there was landfill. And after they filled all the landfills with this stuff, they discontinued the machine because it wasn't as popular as the K cups were. Um, So there have been different. That was just before the financial bubble, the housing market crash.
Wow.
This is
What a
going
free for all.
about 20 years ago. It was a really interesting time in consumer culture. All right, let's have a look at this White Castle, 105 Market Street. Do we know where that is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a notorious location.
Oh, tell me about that.
So Market Street is in downtown, and downtown Louisville, s- they've got a really kind of bad scene that they cover up every year right around now for Derby. They're absolutely notorious for rounding up all of the unhoused people and then busing them. They just hand out bus tickets. There's a Greyhound station not too far away from that White Castle. And I worked at the YMCA for exactly 1 year. I was their marketing manager before I quit nonprofit for good and 9 to 5 life forever. But there was Safe Place Services is run in association with the YMCA, and the guy who worked a lot with Safe Place Services, of course, that's a place for unhoused youths. It's a really incredible aspect of the YMCA, but is constantly underfunded, constantly begging for sponsorship support, constantly trying to accommodate all of the people that they get in there, all the children that they get in there. And he would regularly take, you know, kids and teens through that White House because,
White Castle, yeah.
sorry, yes, not the White House, Freudian slip perhaps, um, to that White Castle because it was so cheap and so accessible. But it was regularly, you would see junkies out front, and it's just a really sketchy area of Market Street, which is not famously a great area. Really close by, there's a blood bank where people, go to pimp their bodily fluids, and there are a lot of homeless encampments all parts of the year except for May, which is when Derby is.
Well, I was mostly intrigued by this soda fountain. What can you tell me about it?
Well, I love that they are pulling on the aesthetic heartstrings of a Guinness keg. That's really special, and of course, Big Red, a lot of people don't know about Big Red. This
I don't
is
know about it, so tell me about it.
it's a cream soda, and it is a violent and affronting red color, and it has an absolute cult following. You can buy it at gas stations, but not very far outside of the Midwest region, to my understanding. In high school, which I went to high school in a fairly rural area in Indiana, southern Indiana, people would always have Big Red. I'm not sure if it's caffeinated, but I suspect it must be based on how obsessed people are with it, and that many teenagers drank it for breakfast. So this is a
This
very, yeah,
sounds
that's
like an
special.
American version of Iron Brew, which is the Scottish
Mm,
version of what you're describing, but it's orange as opposed to red. Yeah.
right. It is a soda. It's non-alcoholic, of course.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I've never seen that tap before. All right. Next, we're going to go to Smash Burger, 9409 Shelbyville Road. Do we know that area?
Mm, not well. It might be new. Hmm.
Tell me what you think when you see this.
Um, really interesting design choices. It kind of feels like a Nickelodeon DJ studio lobby rather than a burger joint. I'm just not loving that font. It doesn't say burger to me, and for it, almost it feels like these want to be onomatopoeias, but they're not. It's like when the word green is written in blue. It feels like it's just messing with my head.
It almost seems like an accountant is trying to provoke excitement.
Yeah.
It's a very strange design.
Hmm. I agree. And I also those like sort of mid-shoulder height walls always really bothered me. It's like a clear demarcation of their distrust for their consumers to stay where they're supposed to be. It's sort of like entering a rat maze that has exactly two angles in it. It's profoundly dehumanizing set design, I would say.
Our next location is a McDonald's. It's at
Oh,
3350 Preston Highway.
oh. Well, this looks boisterous. Look at that. I like the abstract pixelated burger thing happening on the wall, and that by all means shirt really speaks to me. I think that sort of a Renaissance painting. Oh, there are
Tell
multiple people with the by all means shirt. There's
tell me
another
about the
lady.
by all means.
I have no concept, but I kind of like it. It's very Southern hospitality. It's one of those words that, or sorry, one of those phrases that can be it can mean anything you want depending on how you say it. It can be gregarious and warm, and it can also be one of the most vindictive things you can say, all depending on the delivery and the context. This is great. A real action shot.
It's strange to see so many people in a McDonald's.
Yeah,
It's not what
it
I'm used to
seems like a
seeing.
field trip.
Could be. Could be a field trip. Where would they be going based on this location?
Preston Highway. Probably out of the city. Maybe a inter-county track meet or something like that, though the kids don't look especially athletic. Forgive me. Also, varying ages going on here, so I don't know if that's a fair guess. But I will say in that area, a lot of the traffic that would fill up a McDonald's or any fast food restaurant like this is a bus full of kids that gets dragged there by their well-intentioned but probably woefully misaligned with health and wellness chaperones.
I believe that. I've just recently finished writing a new zine called There's This One McDonald's in Kentucky. And it's all about this one McDonald's in Kentucky where the franchisee is just very different than anything I've seen before. And it is
Mm,
heavily, there's a lot of pictures of busloads of kids, just like you're describing.
Yeah.
being taken there. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All
It's so
right, we
interesting.
have
It's like taking a bunch of kids to a cigarette factory. And like, I mean, you're setting them up for a lifetime of thinking that McDonald's is a treat that you earn and get to go to with your friends.
we have two locations left. The next one is a Jack in the Box, 3232 Bardstown Road.
Hmm.
How do we feel about it?
Jack in the Box. Um, I feel uh like I'm being given a reprieve. I don't like this sort of like quirked up, sardonic marketing tactic. When I did marketing, it was always you should seek to be clear before you try to be clever. And I'm left with many questions. Do you want me to come in or do you want me to go get tacos? Where's the
Let's
signage
start.
hitting
Let's.
me?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me start with this very important question that maybe I should have asked first. Have you ever had tacos from Jack in the Box?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
So they are really some of the worst tacos you've ever had in your life. And it's a very strange phenomenon that they are so popular and that they have prevailed. They're very similar to the tacos they now sell at 7-Eleven. I'm not positive. I believe they might be deep fried. Um, so that
Okay, I see.
part of the piece of the puzzle intrigues me. They're almost like trying to reinforce the idea that these tacos are good in some way because they're simply not. Um, I don't know where the sign is located in the restaurant, but I also suspect, based on the way they market and their demographic, that this sign is located at a dead end of some kind.
Mm. Yeah, it sort of seems like taunting. Yeah,
All right, we have
I don't
one.
like it. This wouldn't entice me.
We have one location left on our trip through the greater Louisville area, which has been very interesting,
Mm,
and that is Potbelly Sandwich Works, 302 South 4th Street, which is, I think we're going to talk more about the location than the restaurant itself because we're
surely.
not going to go inside. I just want to show you the exterior. This
Mm.
fascinates me so much. Are you familiar with this block, with this area?
Yes. Yeah, actually, I've been to this Potbelly and to the Qdoba right down there as well. What are your questions?
Well, it's so interesting to me, having never lived in a place like this before, to see. So Potbelly, for example, is a modern chain restaurant, and their interior is vintage interior. But what they've done here is they've taken an older building and retrofit it with an imaginary version of what was in it before.
Mm.
And these street signs are very elaborate, um, to look as if they are part of the history of the building, when in fact they have nothing to do not only with the history of the building, but with the town or the city itself.
Yeah, this specific area, 4th Street, is it's sort of a battleground for the government of Louisville, Kentucky, because when COVID happened and the Breonna Taylor protests and riots broke out in downtown, it was, I mean, just a dead-end location. The only thing keeping this area populated is the office buildings around it, which is really sad because this is actually quite close to the waterfront where they host World Fest every year. But what they've done is with all of the vacancies and the businesses flooding out and, the historic buildings being vacant for a long period of time, There's this one stretch of 4th Street that's been filled with new money, venture capital funded bars and restaurants that are all pretty poor quality and lean heavily into this new age honky tonk energy, like a little slice of Nashville that's fallen into Louisville, Kentucky, right in the center of the office district, where we see a lot of corporate slop bowls and also a potbelly sandwich shop. Now, this is a specifically interesting chain restaurant because I would agree with you. It's sort of one of two, perhaps. The only other one that tries to use this similar aesthetic, I would say, is Cracker Barrel, which does a much more sincere job, or at least did, like I said, when I worked there. But I remember not being able to eat much of anything here, but their pickle slices were good. Their pickle spears.
Do you have, before we go, one core memory from this potbelly?
Mm, I think I wanted a cookie, but their cookies didn't look good, so I didn't get one, and I was irritated about that.
I understand. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sky. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
It's been
Again,
fun.
you can learn more about Sky from her Substack, Sky Fishing for Skyfish, and also her Instagram, Skyfisher for Skyfish. Thanks,
Thank you so
Sky.
much. This is great.
Okay,
Um, Good luck with all other endeavors, and thank you for your time.
thank you. Bye bye.